Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Zara and today I am going to be reviewing Minor Detail by Palestinian author Adania Shibli. At just over 100 pages, this novella is short, yet it is devastatingly powerful. It's split into two parts. The first recounts a true atrocity from 1949 through a detached, clinical lens, and the second follows a modern Palestinian woman compelled by that historical minor detail, a crime that occurred on the same calendar day as her birthday. It is a haunting meditation on memory, erasure, and resistance. Let's explore why this brief work lingers in the mind long after you finish reading it. So firstly, let's talk about Shibli's prose, which is remarkable in how it combines impassivity and precision to amplify horror. What strikes you immediately is the detachment in the first half. The story is told through the eyes of an Israeli soldier. The prose is stripped down and it's clinical. We get precise attention to bodily detail and environment, but no emotional commentary. For example, Shibli writes, "Every day at the same time, the officer would wake, wash, shave, and drink his coffee. Then he would clean his boots until they shone." It's repetitive, almost hypnotic. The rhythm makes ordinary details feel oppressive. Something isn't quite right. And when acts of violence do appear, they're delivered in the exact same flat register, and the contrast is incredibly chilling. In the second half, though, the voice changes completely. We shift to a present-day Palestinian narrator whose voice is much more intimate, anxious, and even obsessive. She second-guesses herself constantly, repeats phrases, and gets caught in spirals of thought. At one point, she herself admits, "I'm not sure why I'm going on about this, but I can't seem to stop." The two styles, one cold and clinical, the other personal and nervous, mirror the gap between recorded history and lived memory. In this book, Shibli also takes her time. The first part moves with an unbearable slowness. We feel the build up, but we don't know what it's building up to. Because I didn't actually read the synopsis of this book before I read it. I knew it was brutal, but I didn't really know what it was recounting. And you do feel a sense of something bad is about to happen. Long passages describe heat, insects, the desert landscape. You do start to wonder, where is this going? What is going to happen next? The patience makes the eventual minor detail all the more horrifying because it's presented as just another entry in the same dry report. It is just as insignificant as the other details around the soldier. The second part feels different, but it's still uneasy. The pacing is fragmented. The narrator constantly gets distracted by checkpoints, by people staring at her ID, by the everyday realities of occupation. This fragmentation slows her down at every turn. So the journey she takes feels incredibly claustrophobic and dangerous even when nothing overtly dramatic is happening. She is just living her life, and yet she is constantly being oppressed in that everyday life. That contrast in pacing between the two halves is incredibly deliberate. It highlights how violence in the past was systematic and relentless, while in the present it is constant and scattered and also infused into daily life. The event at the center of this book is presented as a minor detail, hence the name of the book. It is a minor detail of war specifically. But of course, it's not minor at all. It's a crime. It's brutal, it's dehumanizing. By treating it as incidental, Shibli is showing how violence against Palestinians was dismissed, minimized, or erased in historical accounts. And that is still happening today. We are seeing it live happening today. In the present, the narrator literally stumbles across an article. Because of that, she becomes obsessed, partly because it happened on the same day that she was born 25 years earlier. That coincidence turns erasure into something personal and something that she feels a degree of responsibility to because she remembers it. The book asks a really critical question that I think a lot of us are battling with today. Who decides what details of history matter? Whose suffering is recorded and whose is left out? By giving the atrocity such stripped down treatment and then letting a modern narrator circle around it obsessively, Shibli dramatizes how silencing actually works and how fragile memory can be. And that is one of the many reasons why this book is incredibly emotional. But because we have that contrast, we feel the lack of remorse or shame that this soldier does in the first half. He commits the most vile, degrading act that you could on another human being. And yet it's just a part of his routine. But then you are faced with another character in the second half who feels a degree of responsibility to follow up as to what happened to the individual in the article. There's a degree of cognitive dissonance in this book. It feels very jarring to read, particularly when you look at it in the context of what is happening today in Palestine. It is a very weird time to be alive, to be completely honest. To be seeing it streamed on social media, on YouTube, on our TVs. It's a very weird feeling. Like, I think a lot of people are really feeling it, myself included. So this book, I think, gives a bit of colour to that experience, because even though I'm not Palestinian, I can relate to the second character, because what might feel like a minor thing to somebody else is in reality somebody else's entire world and the people around them. And I think that's really important to remember. What is really remarkable about this book is that Shibli uses pretty much no ornamentation. There are no dramatic speeches, no lyrical flourishes, even though the writing is beautiful in my opinion. It's just repetition, it's precision, and there's just silence. The author isn't trying to give an opinion on what is happening. She is just reporting it factually from these two different perspectives about how this one singular event almost ties them together. The silence that is presented to us is its own form of power. For instance, one recurring image that we get in the first half is of dogs. The dog barked and barked until finally it stopped and silence spread once more over the desert. It seems like such a mundane detail. I heard a dog barking out of my window earlier this morning. But when it's echoed later on in the second half, it is chilling. You know, something just doesn't feel right to the reader. And these repeated details tie in the two parts together and remind us that history is never really in the past. We live through it every single day. Even if something is over, we live with those consequences every single day. By the end of it, the book leaves you very unsettled. It doesn't offer catharsis, and it definitely doesn't offer closure, and nor should it, in my opinion. Instead, it forces us to sit with the discomfort of absence and loss, absence of the victim's voice, absence of justice, absence of recognition. And that absence is completely unforgettable. I read this book a couple of weeks ago and I have not been able to get it out of my head. And that's partially because of what is going on in Palestine right now, but it's also because people seem to forget that this has been going on for decades. This isn't a thing that has just happened isolated as a result of one specific event. This has been happening for decades. And unfortunately, the world just seems intent to allow it to keep on happening. So if you want to get a better understanding of what that experience is like, then this is just one book that I think you should add to your reading list. It is one of those rare novels that proves how much can be done with so little. Adania Shibli gives us, in just such a short book, a meditation on history, violence, and memory that feels larger than many epics, in my opinion. It's a challenging book, it's slow, it's repetitive, and it intentionally withholds information. But if you give yourself over to its rhythm, you'll find it one of the most haunting reads in contemporary literature. For me, I think the biggest takeaway is how the so-called minor details of history, the forgotten lives, the erased crimes, are anything but minor. They are, in fact, the heart of what we need to remember, and we need to do whatever we can to amplify these voices. I'm not going to give this book a rating because that just feels very weird. This was an excellent book, and as I mentioned in one of my previous videos, I will be doing a video in the next couple of weeks on Palestinian fiction that I have read, but that I am also planning to read in the future. Let me know down below in the comments if you've read this book. I know one or two of you, I believe, have, and let me know if you have any questions about the book or if you have any thoughts about what I've said in this video. Thanks for watching, folks. If you liked it, please do give it a thumbs up, and please do consider subscribing. If I see any misinformation or inflammatory comments about what is happening in Palestine, I will ban you and remove your comments from this video, because that's not what this is about. Thanks for watching, folks. Weird to say I hope you enjoyed it, but I hope at the very least you'll consider picking up this book, and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, stay safe, take care, and I'll see you very soon.